Have you ever walked away from a conversation and you are like, that's actually not what I meant? Yet somehow the other person was really, really hurt. Or maybe you have heard someone speak and wonder, how on earth did they even think that that's what I meant? Or this is what they got from it. Here's what I've learned while preparing to facilitate a conversation around building meaningful relationship. Most relationships problems aren't communication problems. They are understanding problem disguised as communication problems. And once you see the difference, it changes every relationship that you are in.
Nhom Lau, Nhom Lau, it's all I need, yeah, yeah, it's all I need, yeah, yeah.
Recently, I had the opportunity to facilitate a workshop on building relationships through communication. One of the questions I asked the room or the space that I was in was, think of someone who has positively impacted your life and what made that relationship meaningful. Interestingly, almost nobody answered, oh, they were really amazing communicators. People spoke about trust, people spoke about feeling safe, feeling understood, feeling accepted in their own way. That reminded me of something that we often forget. Meaningful relationships aren't built because people say the perfect word. They're built because people feel deeply understood. One concept we explored was the iceberg model. Imagine communication like an iceberg. Above the surface level is what we can see, what is visible. So the words, the tone, the text message, the conversation, that's the only small part, which is roughly about 10%. And underneath that sits everything else: our fears, our past experience, our values, our expectations, our beliefs, our emotion. And when somebody says, example, we need to talk, one person hears, we're solving problem together. Another hears, ooh, I'm in trouble. The words didn't change. The meaning actually did, depending on that particular person. One of the things that I was sharing through this conversation, through this workshop, is that our brains are really smart, but they're also very lazy in a sense that we are constantly recording stuff. So if I have an experience this way and this way, it will definitely likely predict the next one, right? Or at least I'll be informed by it. So it's about us being mindful our own feelings, but then also the other person being mindful that this person might have had a different experience, and it is good to have an open conversation. Now, we understand that research shows that people not only respond to the words, but they actually respond what they believe it means. So imagine all my baggage, all my understanding, all my cultural knowledge and all of that. That's how I'm interpreting what you are telling me. That's why two people can actually hear the exact same thing and have a completely different emotional reaction to it. Example, you're beautiful. Somebody could be like, it's flirting. Somebody could think, oh, that's so lovely. Somebody could be like, they're lying. But the words didn't change, but the meaning changed for each person because of their experiences and so forth. So how do we actually become better communicators? Well, actually, maybe that's the wrong question. A better question is, how do we become better understanders, right? One small shift can completely change a conversation. Instead of saying, I don't understand, or whatever in that context, you can say, help me understand more. Instead of saying, why would you do that? Try something like, what was happening for you at that time? Instead of assuming, become actually more curious. Curiosity creates space. Assumption creates distance. Some of the deepest conversations don't happen because someone had a brilliant advice. It happens because somebody felt absolutely fully seen. One of the things that I was sharing through this conversation I was having while facilitating the session is that always have an open open-ended question. Instead of a yes or a no or a very black and white, always ask questions that are curious, right? Sometimes it makes you feel stupid, because I know sometimes when I say it makes me feel stupid, and sometimes it may feel like condescending, but the truth of the matter, like, be genuine, because people would know whether you're genuine or not. So you can imagine how differently your relationship would look like if people felt completely understood before they felt sort of corrected. If curiosity came before assumption, before conclusion, if listening became more important than actually winning in conversation or feeling smart and whatnot. Meaningful relationships require trust, safety, consistency, and genuine understanding. Communication simply becomes the bridge connecting all the four. I remember I recently had this conversation with this person. I had my nervousness because they're kind of like new in my life. I remember this person felt really, really, really safe because I felt like they sort of kind of saw my temperature and they went with that. And also there's something they really did. I shared a particular knowledge. Instead of them like feeling like they know what they're talking about, they just said, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I have no idea. That for me created safety in a way that I didn't even know I needed. I didn't realize I was putting my walls up, and it was so powerful. We were able to have even a more deeper conversation, and I really, really loved that. So here's a question I would love for you to think about today. The next time someone says something that frustrates you, before you react, ask yourself, what meaning are they making and what meaning am I making? Because just maybe, all right, the conversation was never the problem. Understanding was, and that one question might completely change your next relationship. If this conversation challenged your thinking, consider subscribing to Nhom Lau by Awit. Every week we explore how to build a freer mind, a healthier relationship, and a life that doesn't actually require escape. And if this reminded you of someone, share it with them. One conversation really can change an entire relationship. See you in the next video.